Okay, so what we're going to look at here is the 3-column thought record. So hopefully you can download this off the website at Access CBT. The 3-column thought record is just a really easy thought record that we can use just to monitor any kinds of emotional distress and just try to identify what kinds of thoughts are going through our minds at the time that distress occurs. 3-column thought records are really useful because sometimes, a big part of the cognitive behavioural process is training ourselves to notice when certain thoughts are there. Okay, so just by using the 3-column thought record, we're able to start training ourselves to think a little bit about what is the actual thought that's going through our minds at that point where we're feeling that emotional distress. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to use the record. As you can see on screen right now, basically we've got our situation, we've got our emotional state, and we've got the thought that was going through our mind. Okay. Now we can use these 3 columns on lots of different kinds of emotional problems. We can use it with depression, we can use it with anxiety, we can use it with post-traumatic stress, OCD, panic. In this instance, I'm just going to show you how to use it just based on a simple panic problem. Okay. First of all, we've got our situation. Obviously, this is the thing that precedes that emotional state. Where are you when that event actually occurs? Okay. Now, sometimes when people are talking a little bit about panic attacks, sometimes it can happen out of the blue. Sometimes it can happen when we're out and about. In this instance, I'm going to use an example where our individual, they were out shopping with a friend on Saturday afternoon, say. Okay. Now, the next bit is where the person records the actual emotional state. So obviously we're talking a little about panic here, so that's the obvious one. And what we also want to do is think a little bit about the intensity of that panic emotion. Obviously with panic, it's a real intense anxiety, so we're going to be certainly looking up at least 80 to 100%, I suppose. And that kind of highlights that intense emotion that this person experiences. Now, often when we're using these thought records, it's best to kind of have the thought record to hand to record things either when the event's occurring in an ideal world, but as soon after the event as we possibly can, because that way we can get real fresh data and real fresh information about exactly what is going on during that particular episode. The next bit is the important bit as far as I'm concerned. What we're after is identifying what we call the negative automatic thought that was present either immediately before the episode or during the episode. Now, when we're talking about panic attacks, there are a number of different kinds of thoughts that might be occurring either before the event or during it. Okay, so let's think of some typical examples. Here's an example. What if I faint? Another one is I'm losing control. Another example could be, let's just say I can't cope. Now each of these thoughts, the reason it's really interested in identifying these thoughts is because we're trying to make them less automatic. Okay, so often with a negative automatic thought, it pops into the brain, says what it's got to say, and it goes out of awareness before we're even consciously aware of it. Okay, so what we want to do here using this record is just start to understand and train ourselves to understand the relationship between the situation, our thoughts about that situation, and the resulting emotional state. And as I said before, we can use this with all sorts of different emotional problems. But the idea is here, we're just about collecting data, and that's going to help us as we move more in depth into our cognitive behavioural models.